find when things are said differently, often by different people, making connections between different topics in different ways, is very illuminating for my mind. And as Venerable Children, and I think Venerable Jigme have commented on, while we were away in Long Beach to receive some teachings from Dzong Rinpoche, he talked about joy a lot. In different contexts, kind of weaving, it was kind of a theme or a topic that he kept coming back to. And it made quite a deep impression. And I just wanted to share some of my thoughts about that today. And I think the first time it was mentioned was in the context of precious human life, which makes a lot of sense, but it kind of was a bit of a penny dropping as well, in terms of course, this topic is meant to bring joy, that motivation to use our time in a meaningful way. And in the way that it was phrased was really celebrating how the long-term students at Thupten Dargiling had received so much, and to rejoice in that. But we all have received these things in terms of having a precious human life, specifically the 5 qualities that we have, the 5 endowments, or the 5 qualities that we have in terms of others, what they give to us, in terms of that the Buddha came to this world. And he didn't just leave it at that, he taught us, or he taught people who were there with him at that time. And then thanks to others who memorized, practiced, taught others, those teachings still continue to today. And then right now we actually have the good fortune to have the Fourfold Assembly alive and well. That, the fully ordained monks and nuns and the lay practitioners who also hold the 5 precepts. And what was very alive for me in Long Beach was the kindness of there being benefactors who wish to support others in their practice, because the generosity that we received both in heart and materially was just amazing. And so to use this reflection on precious human life to bring joy to the mind. And what was really, changed my perspective a lot was the connection of this to kindness. That to see this meditation on precious human life from the perspective of kindness and also gratitude, and then to use this reflection on gratitude, on kindness, on precious human life, almost as like protective armor that we wear each day, so that no matter what happens or what arises, we can keep a joyful mind, that our mind doesn't start to go south into complaining or seeing the lack or even being too disturbed by the challenges that will arise, because they will. But this deep sense of gratitude and the deep recognition of kindness can keep us level and steady, that other things might be happening, but that will see us through so that we go undisturbed, so that we can then repay this kindness that we've received. Because without a joyful mind, a grateful mind, a happy mind, then I know, at least I know from my own experience, I'm not much use to others, because I'm grumbling, I'm resentful, I'm uncooperative, or I'm just, even if I'm not there, I'm too much caught in my own bubble about what's happening for me that I can't look up and see what's going on for others. So it's then interesting from receiving these teachings on joy and the protective power of joy, to come back and then a few days later have evacuation, where we, in a means of an hour, we just had to pick up and leave, and we didn't know when we were coming back. And then as the days unfolded, hearing about the destruction, not just here close by with 2 huge fires roaring, but also in Long Beach, where we just came from, there was an earthquake, and then there was flooding. And then on the other side of the country, there was also like a hurricane. And all around the world, the natural environment is just mayhem, with the effects of climate change wreaking havoc. And so it's like, is this something to be joyful about? No, of course not. It was just, the destruction, physical destruction, also the anxiety and the pain that many people have experienced and are experiencing is something to alleviate. But then these teachings and also the community sharing as we're going through this showed the power of recognizing kindness, gratitude, and the joy that that can bring to keep our minds steady as we go through these difficulties. Because I think everyone here was just so aware of the kindness that we were receiving every day with people who just at a moment's notice opened up their houses to us and fed us and sometimes clothed us and provided the medicines and shelter for us to be safe in this time of great uncertainty. And I felt that protective power of gratitude and recognizing kindness through the whole group as we were in such a good space throughout all of this, I would say. At least that was my observation for the most part. Of course, there are bumps in this kind of tense situation, but what I saw was a lot of joy arising from that gratitude, from the gratitude of kindness, and then the wish to pay that back, and observing that as well, and how we just reached out to help in so many ways. Yeah. And so using the teachings that were received and also this very rich experience we've just had, and knowing that these challenges will continue to arise going forward, both internally and externally, the question is, how do I want to respond? And, seeing in the week of evacuation, there were various points where I wish I could have had more wisdom or skill or kindness in those moments. Looking back on that, it's also, how would I like to respond differently? And going forward, how do I want to respond? It's with a joyful, balanced mind that has a lot of gratitude and recognizing kindness that I've received from those directly, but also all those indirectly. I mean, the almost 1,000 people that were attending to the fire that was threatening the Abbey, is just, my mind couldn't even really imagine that number of people. It's just huge. 1,000, almost 900 people, I think, was the number that we're given. It's just huge. And I got to, be safe inside, free of the smoke, free of the heat, and they're out there with, I think, what was it? We had the worst air quality in Newport and Spokane in the world for a day or two with these fires. In those horrible conditions, they were out there trying to protect us. So may we really recognize the deep kindness that we've received on all levels from the Buddha himself, all the practitioners who, through their practice, we are now able to receive the teachings in this living tradition, through the kind benefactors who enable us to eat lunch today and have this amazing conditions to practice, and then everyone else who we don't know who are still fighting these fires, who are in various ways helping to alleviate pain and sorrow whenever they see it. So may we really deeply recognize this and use that as fuel to keep the mind happy, not in rah-rah happy, but just grateful. And then use that as a spur to have compassion and act in our compassion. And in the bigger picture, really aspire to full awakening for the benefit of all beings.